So here's the state of the high tunnel. I have already started drying some onions that I felt like were a good size, and I like to do what Martha Stewart does. She dries her onions in place. That works best for me with the varieties I have. I have yellow, white, and I think like a short, like a spring onion, one that doesn't really bulb. And you can kind of see they're all white and sad, but they have survived the heat. They have survived the harsh winter, and I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. You can see back here, I let one go to flower. I can show what the difference looks like if you do take the flower off of your onion versus if you leave it on, what the bulb looks like. And then here are some completely neglected hardneck garlics, and I actually pulled one up to show you. So this is the garlic that I did not take the scape off. This is what it's a hardneck variety. So soft neck variety, you don't have to really worry about scapes. I don't even know that they really flower too much. I've only grown them a handful of times. They're more of a fresh eating variety, which you can do with these too. You can have green garlic. These have already started to cure. You can see they're very sad looking. And I think I see about 3 or 4 teeny tiny cloves formed on these. So these are very small. This is what it looks like when you do not take the flower off and you neglect your garlic. Learn from me, don't do this. But it's gonna be a really pretty flush of, I wonder if they're gonna be white or purple. I think they're white. And I'll have some garlic seed for next year. I also have, there's the onion in the back. I'm gonna go pull it up and show you what that looks like compared to what it looks like when you take the flower off. So here are 2 different results in onion. This one, I took the center stalk out, the flowering stem, and it forced the energy to get it to bulb. Like it focuses, instead of focusing on making a flower so that way it can make seed to reproduce, it focused on bulb production, which is what you want. I just harvested this a couple of days ago. It was in the ground just like this, fallen over and dried. I believe these are either Walla Walla onions or they're Spanish yellows, like a sweet onion. They will store for a really long time depending on how you store them. And you can see it's already got a really lovely curing on it. So before I store them, I'll peel the outer layers off. I'll trim this up, but for now they're going to dehydrate in the high tunnel. This guy, absolutely usable, nothing wrong with it, but you can see this is much smaller than this one. So I think it is absolutely important to take this off if you want bigger bulbs, but maybe you don't care, and this is absolutely usable too, nothing wrong with it. And you'll have some seeds. So you might recognize this from a previous video. This is the child's bed springs. I think it was probably in like a, what do you call it? Like a crib bed springs. The bed would have gone on top of this. Then underneath it for supports, I have these gates. They're wooden gates. Someone had built them at some point, and so they're just essentially making a table here that is perfect for putting plant starts on, letting it drain all the water and stuff, and it just goes down through. And I just love the rustic charm, honestly. But here I've got some onions that me and my kids have pulled out that we thought, you know, those look like they're ready to start curing and we need to get those going. So it's perfect. Everything just kind of goes through the holes. The Humidity here in the high tunnel has been pretty perfect for curing and drying. You do not have to have a high tunnel to dry. I just like to take advantage of the solar power, if you will, because it is very intense here in the high tunnel. It's very dry and really great conditions for, you know, getting a skin to grow on the onion. Some of these you can see they have this outer layer that has already started to form. But like I said previously, the whiter stuff, the whiter part of the onion, is the actual onion, and we want these skins to develop and dry fully, so that way when I put these up for storage, they will contain their moisture and be happy for hopefully months to come. But honestly, I use onions all the time, so these will not last very long. Down here I have greens growing. Greens typically enjoy the spring. They do not like the summer where I am. It's very hot, it's very humid, and for a good tasting lettuce, I have found here in my area that it likes the cool. It likes to be picked early in the morning or very late at night when the temperature is down. You can already see these back here that are tall. Those are going to seed. Those are not going to taste very good. They're going to be bitter, which is a chemical that the lettuce puts in, that the lettuce emits to kind of discourage bugs or anything from eating the lettuce, so that way it can get to full maturity to form seed heads through the flowers. Smaller ones down here are good and fine to start eating at any time. If it's a heading lettuce, one of the easy ways that you can harvest it is take the outer leaves and push straight down and take the center out. Usually the outer leaves kind of act as guards, if you will. They're the first line of defense against bugs or water damage or anything like that. And the small stuff in the middle, that's the tender stuff. That's the good stuff. Here you can see how tall the strawberry plants have gotten here amongst the onions. The onions have worked out as such a great pest deterrent, I should say, for the strawberry plants. There are a few nicks and holes here in the leaves, and there are always going to be mice and things that figure out where your strawberries are. But for the most part, it has been a wonderful companion planting. These are a June bearing variety called Chandler, and I talked about them when I planted them back in November. You can go back and see that video. But I chose these because they are well adapted for my region. A lot of times we have very wet winters, and with the freeze and thaw, these seem to do really well. They also are pretty resistant to a lot of issues that I know strawberries do have, and I have just loved growing them. They're already starting to put out daughter vines, which will be the plant. That's how it replicates itself for future harvests. And I could not recommend enough planting your onions or scallions or chives or anything amongst your strawberries enough. It has given me such big plants, beautiful berries, and on top of that, the bugs do not seem to like the onions around. This is a spot of the high tunnel that I don't show very often. It is definitely an extension of my garden. This is where I keep my plants in waiting for myself or clients. And I also have a rain catchment system, which I haven't talked about before. It is not fancy. Rain catchment sounds fancy. There's nothing fancy about this setup. I have a water trough that we very practically used to water our pigs and goats that we used to have at our last homestead. And it hasn't been used here. We don't have a place for pigs or goats, and I honestly don't think we will get goats ever again. And it also is just, you know, it's just hanging out. So I put it on the side of the high tunnel. It works really well to catch the rain if you remember to put the plug in. I've also added a solar fountain, which I have linked in my Amazon store. It's completely solar powered. It works wonderfully. It's overcast today, so it is running. You can hear it running, but it does not have like the full fountain effect when it doesn't have as much sunlight as it needs in order to run efficiently. But I love it. It gets a little scummy. It has goldfish in it, which helps to take care of the mosquito larvae. The fountain kind of disturbs the water to keep, you know, the mosquitoes kind of deterred from wanting to lay in the water at all. So I really like it, and it's perfect for, you know, dipping out some bucketfuls of water to water my plants and give them a little bit of extra nutrients. So here's a close-up. Like I said, it's overcast today, so it isn't really giving a lot of pond action, but we have 3 or 4 goldfish in here. They really do help keep the mosquito larvae down. That's their main food source. And so the fountain's in the center, and this wire goes to the top to the solar panel that's just on top of the high tunnel. And it's very atmospheric. I love it. I love having it, and I love that it is a way that we can, you know, catch the rainwater that comes off of the side of the high tunnel. Ooh, and this is a raspberry. This plant in waiting, it's already producing.